Hello guys, and welcome back to another week of me building a self-tracking app in Svelte 5. And this week was quite a slow and short week because it's Easter time and I didn't have that much time to work on this project, but I still managed to get some stuff done. So now we have started working a bit on the onboarding system. So when the user first visits the application, we kind of want to give them an introduction to what the app is about and also let them choose some suggestions. Because what is a self-tracking app if there is no data, right? If there is nothing to track, it's kind of deterring for a new user to have a completely empty slate. Maybe someone likes to have that, but I think it makes sense to provide some suggestions to the user. So now we have a way of actually selecting some suggestions for trackables, and we can see the goals and the tags. This is all just dummy screenshots for now, but we will switch them out in the future. But here we can also select tags, and we can see analytics. And I also try to make this as responsive as possible with some gesture detection. So whenever you swipe right here or swipe left, it will go to the next page and kind of just moves on. And then the idea is then that it will actually create those suggestions that you selected and perhaps create a nice, beautiful dashboard to show to the user when they have finished onboarding. Something else that I quickly fixed is that now when you search in the journal, we actually persist this state. So when I go and search for mood here, if I want to edit this search again, we can now press the search button. It will take me back and have this search query encoded in the URL. So I can just share this. I could even bookmark this if I wanted to. We still have our saved searches, which are actually stored in the database, but we also have a nice way of saving a search just in the URL. So now I can just search again and I can modify it as needed. So for the onboarding system, I tried to make it as modular as I could. So we can actually define this onboarding based on the pages that we want to have. And so here we have two page types. We have an image, which is just showing an image and a description, but we also have a select here. So we can select some suggestions, for example. And this is where we send in a bunch of categories that also have some items stored inside of them. So then we also have a selected state, and this is for all of the suggestions that the user has selected. So we create this sort of select state where we have all of the trackables that the user selected and all of the tag suggestions that the user selected. So whenever we finalize, we can then take in this selected state and actually then in the future create these selected trackables and tags in the actual database. I also went ahead and defined this group variable type. So this was something I was feeling was missing before. We weren't actually able to group journal entries in variables based on some field, but now we can do that. So we can group something based on another field or another question in the form. Say I wanted to group by meal type, I will get back a map or an object that contains the meal type, for example, lunch, and that is mapped to a list of all the journal entries that match specifically lunch. And the reason that I wanted to implement this is so that we can actually support pie charts. I realized that I didn't actually have support for pie charts in the system. So now we can actually have pie charts where we have a group variable instead that groups based on something. So I can have this grouped by how would you describe your emotions, and then each of these values, depressed, option, grateful, all of the values that it can find in the journal entries will have one mapping, and then we can group them with or aggregate them with count. So we can see for each of these how many times they occurred. So I could now perhaps track depressed once again. If I were to go ahead and do that, and if we take a look here, we can see that this now says 3. So the frequency here is now 3. And this was then possible with the help of this grouped variable. And I also created some tests for this. For example, a very basic, simple group variable that groups based on this bro field. When we group it by the bro field, we can see that 2 of these entries have the value test and 1 of them have okay. So we can see that the expected value here is supposed to be test, with these 2 entries having this set to test and the other one has it set to okay. And if we run that, we can see that this works flawlessly. Another super small fix that I also did this week was to force a portrait mode, and this was super easy to do with capacitor as well. All we had to do was change in the Android manifest and set the screen orientation to portrait. So this is just so that we don't have landscape. If we were to rotate our phones, we don't want that to be supported because we haven't designed for that in mind simply. If we are on mobile, we expect it to be shown in portrait mode. So this is just a nice way to force that. Super easy to do with the Android manifest file. So like I said, I didn't have that much time to work on the project this week, but I hope that you guys still enjoyed this video and you're still following along on this building in public journey. If you want to see the source code for this project, it's available on GitHub and you can see how it has evolved. And you can also join the Discord channel if you want to be part of the community that I'm trying to build. But other than that, I will see you guys next week. Peace out.